Good evening and welcome to the March 1st meeting of the Sacramento-Yolo Port District Commission and the Board of Directors of the Sacramento-Yolo Port Financing Corporation. As we do begin each meeting here in the chambers, we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I'd like to ask our guest, Victoria Pena, to please lead us in the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. The commission did meet in closed session, and I'd like to call on our port attorney to please report out for us.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. The Port Commission met in closed session to discuss three pieces of real property with its real property negotiator. The location of the properties is identified in the port agenda. No reportable action was taken.
Thank you. That brings us to item 1, which is presentations by the public on matters not on the agenda but within the jurisdiction of the commission. We have no requests to speak at this time, so we'll move on to our consent agenda. Are there any requests to pull any items, or is there a motion to approve?
I'll move the recommended action.
Moved by Commissioner Ledesma and seconded by Commissioner Roscoe. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimously passes. That brings us to our item 5, commission reports. Any reports from commissioners? None? Okay. I'd like to call on the port CEO for his report.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Just briefly, in December, the commission authorized staff to seek legislation to clean up some of the provisions that were in the legislation that was approved in 2006 by Senator Woke. Those cleanups were the appointments of commissioners, make sure that the commission appointments line up with the city's regular appointment process, and then also delete the provision that was put back in 2006 that we would have to make a finding if we sold any property more than 10 acres for non-maritime purposes. So that is now in legislation. Assemblyman McCarty has that bill. It's AB 1226, and it will be heard first in the Assembly Local Government Committee, and we'll keep the commission informed as that bill moves through the process.
Thank you.
And then in addition, if we could have the port manager, Mr. Toff, give a report on the impact of the flood and the bypass on port operations, if that's okay.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you, Marty. So the high waters in the Yolo bypass have created conditions that were hazardous for navigation of vessels up the ship channel. So the ship channel is officially closed to vessel traffic and has been for a few weeks. And that is, if you're familiar with the geography, the Yolo bypass drains into the ship channel about at Cache Slough, which is about 5 to 6 miles north of Rio Vista. And so that water flow has created several conditions that are problematic. One is just the current itself is kind of a broadsides a vessel when it's coming up. That's a dangerous situation. The levees are stressed, and there's concern that a vessel wake would overtop a levee or just generally, contribute to additional weakness in the levee. And the third likely outcome, a little longer term, is all that sediment that we saw, material we saw, coming out of the Oroville spillway, that some of that's going to settle out in the deep water ship channel. And so we know from what happened in 1997, 20 years ago, that there will be shoaling, and so that will require additional dredging, more money required from the Corps. There'll likely be a delay in letting this water, reside before they actually do the soundings and figure out where we're going to dredge. So that's kind of the situation in a nutshell. And just to summarize the economic impact, 3 vessels have been affected so far. We had one was not ours. It was the Yara facility. They diverted a ship to Stockton. The second ship is a cement vessel that was supposed to go to Stockton and Sacramento. It'll probably discharge all of its cargo in Stockton now. And we have a third ship at anchor right now in San Francisco Bay that's been waiting for about 8 days now. And so it's unable to come up until the water goes down and everyone agrees, and every levy and, other Coast Guard, Corps of Engineers, Reclamation District officials are all have a say in when it's safe to resume vessel traffic. So the impact is mostly to SSA, our terminal operator, and every rice ship that doesn't come here. So there's a risk that if this goes on for an extended period, that at least 2 ships will go to Stockton. We'll lose, and so every ship is roughly 2,000 man hours, and a significant revenue impact to SSA, and assuming that they hit their revenue threshold, for our revenue share would be impacted too by $20,000 per ship. So we're hopeful that the channel reopens quickly, but I can't tell you right now that it will. And so we're monitoring that closely and working with everybody to try to resume traffic as soon as possible.
Thanks for that update. Any questions?
Know,
Commissioner Ledesma?
thank you, Vice Chair Sandine. Yeah, I flew over home on Friday. It's a clear day, and I noticed, flew right over Rio Vista and saw, and I wondered about that. So it is, because you could see the water is literally merged into the channel. So has there been any, to date, along the ship channel, any damage at all to it besides what we're anticipating from sediment? Any other levee issues that have resulted from the increased stress?
No, not that have been identified yet. There's a section of levee just north of Cache Slough that's designed to overtop, and I have some photographs from the last time a ship went down where it shows very clearly the bypass and the ship channel have merged at that location. But just south of there is a levee that's sensitive, that if there were to be damage, the navigation channel would be compromised. It would lose its definition. So at this point, no.
Okay, thank you for the update.
Thank you. And you'll keep us updated along the way. Any other questions? All right, is there a motion to adjourn? Moved by Commissioner Orozco and seconded by Commissioner Johannesson. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Right, we're adjourned.